Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Xbox Casuals, the Xbox podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Dirrig, and alongside me, as always, is the Summer League Duncan, Josh Finney.
God, dude, I'm so excited. It has been a rough 6 months to be a Dallas Mavericks fan. Between the Luka trade, Nico Harrison being just a gigantic tool, Kyrie tearing his ACL, and then 1.8% chance to win the lottery, and we get Cooper Flag. He is halfway through his first Summer League game, and holy shit. I don't know that I've been impressed with somebody at Summer League like this since Luka. In fact, I don't even remember if Luka played Summer League. I'm trying to remember if he did. I genuinely don't remember. I remember Dennis Smith Jr. had an awesome Summer League. Emoni Bates had a good one, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But, typically the top overall pick doesn't play a ton at Summer League. Wemby, I think, played maybe one game. Chet got injured before he even got to play. Or it was, right after, something like that. So, it's so weird. And, of course, there's always going to be, the Mavs and Lakers are going to be connected for forever. So it's kind of funny that that's the first game happening. Almost the whole team is there courtside, except for, I think Klay Thompson and Daniel Gafford are, the two main guys who are not there. But Kyrie's there, PJ Washington's there, obviously Jason Kidd's there, a lot of the coaching staff is there, the owner is there, tickets to see this, if you wanted to sit courtside for this, were $2,500 this morning.
Jeez.
If you wanted to sit in the lower bowl, it was $700. If you wanted just to get in, it was $250.
Jeez.
That is the highest on record for Summer League in history.
I was going to say, Summer League is what's going on?
Dude, I'll put it this way. People were saying, because you can bet on Summer League games. If you are betting on Summer League games, please seek help. Please call the gambling helpline. But yeah, no, I'm fully aware that the Mavs have a very good chance at losing this game. It's tied up with 4 minutes left in the second quarter, but yeah, holy shit. He looked a little rocky at first, and then that was it.
He's got to get his feet wet.
He scored the next 6 points at least, I believe. After that, my audio cut out, and the camera feed cut to a different camera at one of the baskets. It was really weird. But his first points came. He stole the ball and then ran down the court and just dunked it. Just threw up a poster. Holy shit. All right. Yep. He is as advertised. I'm totally okay with this.
As advertised.
As advertised. Obviously, the stat sheet looks a little weird. Ryan Nembhard looks awesome. Super stoked for him. Obviously, Miles Kelly looks good. I'm excited. Basketball season is on the way. It is on the way. It's my favorite sport. I like football, but I love basketball. So I'm so excited. But Corey, we have not as exciting things to discuss once again on this show. I'm really bummed out that we're going to be having to talk about the Fallout for the next couple of months, if not years.
Not the Fallout TV show.
No, not the Fallout TV show. That will come at Christmas.
Not Fallout 76.
We actually do have a little bit of Fallout news today, funny enough. But the absolute human toll that the layoffs last week have taken. It's been about a week. We have a little bit more clarity around some of the projects and around some of the studios that were affected. And that's kind of what we're going to have to go into tonight. And some of the notable roles that are now gone from Xbox as a whole. But yeah, let's go ahead and just start. In case you've been living under a rock, Xbox did mass layoffs last week. It was part of Microsoft laying off 9,000 corporate wide. There is an increasing belief that this was likely not Phil Spencer's decision. He was just told this many people have to go. Yeah. And you have to reduce budgets by this much.
Yeah, that's kind of what I heard. For those who don't know, I work for a tech marketing firm, and Microsoft is part of our part of the companies that we work with, and definitely sounds a lot like it came from the top, because they are restructuring the entire company to revolve around AI infrastructure. So data centers to power AI, essentially. because their deal with OpenAI fell through, and
Yep.
OpenAI went and made a deal with, like, I guess, Oracle and Google and, a couple of these massive companies. So Microsoft is about 4 years behind. And guess what, Josh? The amount of money they need to build AI infrastructure is ironically the same amount of money that they spent on Activision Blizzard.
Yeah. You and I have said this repeatedly over the years, but we said it was a mistake back when they announced it. We said it all throughout the FTC hearings. We've said it since. It was a massive mistake. It was not worth paying that amount of money just so we could go, oh, look, Call of Duty and Diablo are on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what it's amounted to. And like that can't even be done right because Call of Duty is so fucked on the Windows Store. World War II is that they had to pull it because people were getting malware installed on their computers through it.
Yeah, yikes.
So yeah, yikes. We like, hey, what do you know? Like half that team got laid off last week. So, I wanna start with an article by Jason Schreier from last week. Shit. The gift link may have expired on this one, but I can surmise it. We got a story from Jason last week while we were, or just after we recorded, talking about how there was a canceled game out of Zenimax. Sorry, I had to get my thoughts there for a second. Codenamed Blackbird. And Blackbird is it was supposed to be an MMO. And I'm trying to find a article that's talking about. Here we go. So it was a third-person action RPG, not unlike Destiny, was the exact wording that we got. Had real Blade Runner vibes, a lot of upwards mobility, real like neo-noir, cyberpunk style thing. But this game went through a lot of trouble. This is going to be the first of many games we talk about that went through production troubles. And when you start seeing some of those issues, you start going, okay, I kind of understand why this got canceled. It started production in 2018 and got put on the back burner, presumably after the Microsoft purchase, because ESO was so popular and is apparently such a moneymaker for ZeniMax and Microsoft. I did not know this until Jason's article. I believe it was in Jason's article, said that they have made like $2 billion in revenue off that game.
Yep.
In the last decade. So that's
crazy.
Wild, first off. That game single-handedly can fund most of your non-Call of Duty and World of Warcraft projects.
Yeah, which is why it confuses me why like this game in particular, like I could see a single player game like Perfect Dark, like yeah, that sucks and it was kind of surprising, but when you think about it, it's not really that surprising considering how long that game's been in
the development hell. Yeah.
And the turnover plus paying Crystal Dynamics plus the initiative not having a game to sell while they're working on this, right? So no revenue coming in. Like, so that's understandable, right? But something like this where you have like a hit MMO that's still going, by the way, and is still really popular.
Yeah.
That you don't get to finish this one when an MMO these days takes a lot of time and effort and building a new engine on top of that and like really trying to make something unique and interesting, like that surprises me.
So it surprised me less upon reading Jason's article because he basically goes on to detail that they didn't even have a vertical slice of this game until March of this year when they presented it to Phil. According to two people who were in the room, Phil Spencer was so hooked on the game that Matt Booty literally had to take the controller out of his hands so they could continue the presentation. And then this gets canceled 3 months later, but they were projecting to release in 2028, hopefully release in 2028. Apparently there were some concerns at Microsoft about, is this adding yet another game into too crowded of a field of like always online games, of live service? Like we talked about this briefly last week. I don't remember if it was on this show. I probably was on this show or it was on Tower Casuals. It was on one of the two shows we did last week about just think about how many live service games that they have. I think we came out with like 15 or 16 games that could be construed as live service.
Mm-hmm.
That's insanity. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, like that's crazy. That's 2/3 of your games that you produce are live service titles. There's only so much time to go around. Like, I'm not saying I defend this, and Jason made it a point in his article to say, like, it is really, really easy for us to romanticize canceled games.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario we talked about with Redfall. That if Microsoft had canceled that, people would have screamed, "Oh my God, you canceled a multiplayer arcane game? Oh my God, I can't believe you do that." Well, this is the flip side, right? Like, so you don't cancel it and you release it, you get something like Redfall. You release it and like, oh, you had great internal play tests, but players don't latch onto it. You get a situation like Concord. Which would you rather do? Would you rather still fund this for another 3 years and have no guarantee of it being profitable or, you know, even good? Or would you rather just like pull the plug and find a way to keep those people at that studio? That would be kind of where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not defending canceling projects or laying off. Like, this is the one, and we're going to talk about Romero games in a minute. These are the two that baffle me because I understand, as much as it pains me to say, Perfect Dark was my game of the show at last year's summer showcase.
Mm-hmm.
At least first party wise. Expedition 33 was still there. But I get it. That game was in production in some way, shape, or form since like 2017, 2018. They didn't make a small game first. A friend of the show, Ray Apollo, said that what he wished they would have done is make a game similar to Shadow Complex that acted as a prequel and then go full on into Perfect Dark. So they had something that would bring in some revenue or at least establish some trust in the studio, let them get their feet wet, this and that.
Yeah, I've heard that a couple times. Like they should have done something small.
Yeah, I mean, again, like we were saying this a couple years ago when we talked about Rebecca Valentine's reporting about the troubles that it was going through back in 2023. So you have that. Everwild, I think we all understand why Everwild got the axe finally. Let's not sit here and pretend like we're gonna martyr ourselves for Everwild, okay? I'm sorry. That game.
But it was the next Breath of the Wild / Banjo-Kazooie / something else that Rare makes.
That game has, I did not know it had been in production for almost a decade. That means they had it as like some sort of concept or pre-production for years before we even got the teaser. And then even when they showed us both teasers, they didn't have a gameplay loop, and they rebooted it a year after that when they brought Greg Mayles over to do it. Yep. That's the biggest loss of the Everwild project, is losing Greg Mayles. Just like the director of Zenimax, whose name I'm completely blanking on right now, stepped down later in the day after Blackbird was canceled. I do think that by all accounts, what we've heard, this was Jason's conclusion, this is my conclusion from everything I've read from them. And Sure Achievements had a story about it also, like going into a lot of the details about it. They had 200, almost 300 people working on this game, and it got canceled. When your executives come in and like a game that they're demoing, that to me is a good sign. Because we never heard any reports like that on things like Redfall.
Right.
I don't remember ever hearing that about Starfield. You know what games we did hear it about? Perfect Dark, Everwild, Blackbird.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you keeping score at home, Blackbird is the former Project Kestrel from the leaked FTC documents a few years ago.
Yep.
They liked that name so much they wanted to name the game Kestrel. So, and they were planning expansions and all sorts of shit for this game. It sounds really cool. Like when I look at everything that they had planned, it looks really cool. It sounds really cool, but man, at this point, if you are a game developer and you make something that Phil Spencer says, yeah, I like this, I'd be a little scared because clearly something is going to happen. Hi-Fi Rush, yeah, oh, we're pleased with its sales. A couple months later, shut down. You know, Perfect Dark. Now, granted, Perfect Darks was like years ago, right? Everwilds was just a couple months ago. They met with Romero Games the day before they canceled the game.
Yep.
Like, what the fuck?
You know what that tells me is that the Xbox like unit had no clue this was coming, or like
that's my conclusion, is that they just had no idea that this was
or
coming.
like they thought it was only going to affect like in-house studios or something.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
So that's what that tells me.
That's one of my takeaways from this also.
Yeah, but just real quick, I think a game by John Romero, I think, first of all, it can't cost that much to get it pushed over the finish line. And I think anybody else out there who has some sort of, publishing brain will go help get it over the finish line. I think.
They said they've already received multiple offers from publishing partners. I would not be shocked if Sony stepped in to publish this.
Just to like twist the knife.
Yep. And watch, it's going to be good. I guarantee you this game's going to be good.
I know.
This is going to be yet another entry in the saga of Microsoft didn't want to fund it, and it's good.
Yep.
This makes me wonder if, we were wondering why the Wu-Tang game was not being published by Microsoft anymore. I wonder if that was in the last round of layoffs and it was just kept really quiet. In the big batch that closed down Tango last spring, I wonder if that was part of it, and it just never got reported on.
Yeah.
So they decided to self-publish. Like that would be my conclusion. But the fact that they pulled the funding and that basically caused Romero Games to go, yeah, if we don't get another publisher, like immediately we're gonna have to close down, is insane to me. You cancel the game from John Romero. Like, can we just focus on that for a minute?
I know.
You canceled the game from John Romero that you didn't think would be profitable. Like, I get that you think you have too many shooters, and you do, but why fund it in the first place?
Right.
Like, why even go down this road?
Right.
That's what I keep coming back to. It was a former employee who was saying all this, by the way. PC Gamer reported on it. They come from closure and shed light on the circumstances surrounding the cancellation. Former employee told them Romero Games had meetings with the publisher the day before this happened, and there was no mention of it. There were concerns with the studio given Microsoft's streak of layoffs and studio closures. It seemed so far away from us. The title was pretty well developed at that point. Records show Romero Games directly employed 42 people, but the journal.ie reports the external staff working on the unnamed FPS project brought the total number of those affected to over 100. Just what the fuck, man. I really one of my favorite comments is they got Amy hoodwinked. That's how I feel too. Just what the fuck, man. I don't understand. Adding to the pile of things I don't understand, if we're putting this in threes, Turn 10 has now laid off 50% of its studio. It has been confirmed that almost the entire motorsport team has been let go, and the remainder of the studio is only going to work on supporting Horizon.
Yep.
And I tried getting some clarity on this from people that I know who are in the racing community, who, religiously play games like this and Gran Turismo and whatnot. And basically they were like, we're shocked, but also the last couple Forzas, didn't launch great.
Yeah, especially this one, right? They changed.
I know 7, they decided they needed to go back to the drawing board after 7. I know that. That was the last one released on Xbox One. This one got delayed multiple times. We all thought it was going to be a launch window title, and when it wasn't, and it was like, oh, it'll be ready when it's ready. We're like, oh, okay, this is probably like a fall 21, early 22 game, and it got pushed all the way back to fall 23. Comes out incomplete, buggy as shit, and they've basically just spent the last year and a half getting it fixed. From people I talked to, I do not play regular Forza. As a total disclaimer, the people I talked to said, hey, we feel like the game's in a pretty good place. Like, overall, for what you would expect from a live service Forza, it's in a good position. To me, that screams somebody looked at a spreadsheet and saw that it's not doing remotely close to the numbers that Horizon 5 is. And has continued to do. Horizon 5 has, by all accounts, been it was a success on day one, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
We ran the numbers, and I logged in and was playing it on the last day of early access, and you can see the global leaderboard of everyone who's ever played that game. Mm-hmm. The only way you could play it at that point was if you paid $100 or if you bought the $50 upgrade on Game Pass. We were up to several million players. just in those first 3 days. So this is not shocking to me. And granted, you have to also remember they're probably looking at this and going like, oh, this just got a massive boost from being on PlayStation.
Right.
Because it's now been on or not MPD anymore, Circanus charts 2-3 months in a row in the top 5. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Like, that's a top 5 game. Doom the Dark Ages just hit it for the month of May, I believe. And I don't understand when I look at this. Like, I for one would want my live service game to have more resources thrown towards it. I can maybe understand trimming the staff a tiny bit, but that this also tells me that if this is happening, Phil's clearly going to put all his trust in Horizon. Like, okay, well, all eyes at corporate are now on Horizon. We have to make sure Horizon is the absolute best thing that we make out of Playground. So, all right. I don't know if this means that content for Motorsport is going to be gone permanently, or but we will reach a point within the next year where they stop releasing updates, and that's a damn shame. That's a damn shame. Not even 2 years in.
Yeah. Well, what I heard was they were going to keep a small team to make sure there are like balance patches and like fix any bug issues or anything, but not like they're done supporting it like with real support.
Insane. I just don't understand that.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's not great. King lost 200 employees. Talked about that last week. But the Zenimax Europe had some layoffs, particularly in the community department. There were a lot of layoffs at home. Half of the game safety team has been laid off in Washington. That also really shocks me. They pretty clearly want to shove that whole part of the company into being moderated by AI, which is going to be a disaster, by the way.
Yeah, considering their security stuff isn't exactly the best at Microsoft anyway.
I mean, just look at what happened when they had an AI chatbot. It turned racist and anti-Semitic within an hour. So, like, look at what's going on with Twitter's AI right now.
Right.
You know, and with their CEO leaving the company after some of the things that it said about her, you know, that were very sexual and misogynistic. And I don't understand why executives keep thinking that this is worth burning down the planet for, but this is where we are, unfortunately. The layoffs are not over. They're probably just starting.
Oh, yeah. No, it's just starting.
That's the really frustrating part. Apparently, according to Jez Corden, I want to find his exact quote here. Microsoft is imposing unrealistic requirements on Xbox, according to him. Microsoft CFO Amy Hood has given Xbox an utterly unrealistic financial requirement that is going to continue hurting the division. This is not over. And he said that on July 5th. So, and again, top comment. I don't know what what else people expected from ex-investment banker from Goldman Sachs. So, yeah, it's not good. It's all bad. It's all rough.
Yep.
I will say about the only good news we got out of this is that for right now, Hideo Kojima's OD is safe. Arcane's Blade is safe. Fable is safe. Anything that was shown at the showcase, so Clockwork Revolution, etc., safe. I am very worried for the long term about Double Fine. I'm very concerned about Double Fine and Ninja Theory.
Yeah.
I'm very concerned. Probably long term I'm worried about In Exile, but maybe not as much, since they're clearly showing that they're trying to show that they can also pivot and make different types of games. I've heard a lot of talk that they have 2 games in development, that one of them is Clockwork Revolution, the other one I've heard is Wasteland 4, but you know, that's just from reporting I've seen on it. I don't know if that's actually happening. I would imagine it is, but you know, Obsidian
Perfect Dark was happening up until a week ago, so
Right. I'm saying I think that when you're a studio that can do multiple different types of games, though, you're gonna be a little bit safer.
Yeah.
You know, Matt Booty has even talked about like he wants teams to be working on multiple games, like smaller teams working on smaller games at a better pace. That's why like Obsidian was totally safe from everything from what I saw. I did not see a single report on Obsidian losing people.
Well,
The
I mean,
Coalition was safe.
yeah.
So Halo
Yeah.
Studios lost 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you make a shitload of money, seems like you're kind of. I mean, I guess shouldn't even say that. Raven saw layoffs. Sledgehammer saw layoffs. To me, that screams that the next Sledgehammer Call of Duty is years away. It's not imminent.
If
Obviously,
they're
we know
even
Infinity
working on the
Ward is
series,
next.
or they might be relegated to a support studio now, right? I mean,
They've wanted to get out of Call of Duty for so long. I think a lot of us were hopeful that they would be allowed to go make whatever they wanted to going forward. The last I heard is they're working on a sequel to Advanced Warfare. That's an era a lot of people want to go back to, especially in the competitive scene. It would make sense. Infinity Ward is doing, I think, Modern Warfare 4 right now. Their game is pretty clearly going to be next fall's. Presumably could be a launch title for the next Xbox ecosystem. But it's really, really hard to get jazzed about the future of Xbox right now. This is still my preferred place to play. I still like the ecosystem. It's my favorite controller by far. I like the UI. I like the connectivity between everything, but holy shit, it is really hard for me to get excited about it. And admittedly, awesome games lineup when stuff like this is happening behind the scenes.
yeah.
Because you don't know if those studios are ever going to get to make another game if they don't. I mean, even if you make an absolute banger, you're not safe. Look at Tango.
Right.
And even Tango, like I look at Tango's history and their games just are not historically profitable. Evil Within 1 and 2 were kind of mid, in terms of both, critical reception, sales, gameplay, etc. Ghostwire Tokyo, very much a very similar story. Hi-Fi Rush, for all the praise it got, that game did not sell. Even when it came to PS5, it did not sell. And I do not think the result would have been drastically different if it came to the Switch. It didn't sell. People didn't play it on Game Pass. They didn't buy it on Steam. They didn't buy it on PlayStation. They didn't buy it on Xbox. I don't think a Switch version would have made a difference here.
Yeah. Would have been a nice launch lineup for launch game for Switch 2, though.
It would have been, but
I mean, I know it doesn't really make sense at this point, but
no, it doesn't.
Personally, as someone who I played Mario Kart, would have made a great second game, but
yeah, but also like I would have had a hard time getting excited over a 2.5-year-old game. I'm wearing my Hi-Fi Rush shirt right now underneath my Cooper Flag jersey, actually. I don't know what else to say without talking in circles. Just there was more context we needed to give on everything that happened. It's worth noting Blackbird, they did not use the word canceled with Blackbird. It has been shelved indefinitely, which probably means canceled according to Jason Schreier. I'm going to choose to hold out a tiny bit of hope. There was an outcry about that one that I did not see for Perfect Dark or Everwild or even the Romero Games title. There were a lot of people in this industry who were like, wow, what the fuck? Really? Mm-hmm. You're not going to let the guys that made ESO, one of your most profitable games every quarter, make another money maker for you? Like, I would have to imagine that if they did that, like, I know 76 is like largely outsourced at this point. I would have to imagine 76 might wind down right around that time, but that's a 3-year runway that you'd be giving 76. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. I'm still going to hold out hope that we see Blackbird in some way, shape, or form. But Everwild, Perfect Dark is a cursed franchise. I don't think we ever see Perfect Dark again. I think that one is dead, buried in the ground, and it's a shame because there's no Deus Ex or anything. There's no Splinter Cell. This would have been a perfect game to release. There's a whole controversy with that trailer that came out over the last week with Kotaku and Ethan Gatch reporting that, it was largely a fake trailer. Yeah, welcome to a vertical slice trailer, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, the level designers were so mad. They're like, dude, we just lost our jobs. We really don't want to have to defend our work on here, but we're going to do it anyways. ridiculous bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing here, guys.
Yeah, this is yeah.
It's not great.
Not great, Josh. Not
great at all. Not great at all. So that's where I am on that. Let's move on to a couple of other stories, I guess, that we have here. Whew, boy. Okay. So we Halo Insider, Rebs Gaming, they post a lot of stuff about the API and a lot of stuff going on at Halo Studios. Used to be 343. Usually pretty on the money with their reporting. It sometimes takes a little while, but pretty spot on. Put out a video today talking about sources talking about the CE remake. And like we've long suspected, it appears to be campaign only. They've heard nothing about multiplayer. I suspect that's to like keep from the competitive imbalance, like the jarringness that would go from Infinite to CE, even as a remake, would be a little ridiculous. Rebs also said they have not heard anything about Halo Infinite being ported to PlayStation. That and Master Chief Collection have both been persistent rumors. I choose to believe the Master Chief Collection one, though, and he does not mention that here for the record. But I choose to believe that one because Tom Warren specifically has reported on that, and Tom's about as accurate as they come for Xbox stuff, as far as I'm concerned. I believe Jason has also said he's heard about it coming. Gears of War is coming to PlayStation, for God's sake. Like, this is Master Chief Collection is coming. It's a matter of when, not if.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll do the whole Master Chief Collection rollout similar to what they did on PC. Like, they'll do it in either chronological order or release order or something.
That is the rumor that I saw floating around, is that they were planning to do that at some point, that when they put it out, it will be, and I do wonder if they're going to hold it for next year. And so that way you're not getting the shitty CE. Yeah, you're getting the actual remake as part of it. Not just the remaster that they did in 2011 that was abysmal and really should have told us all a lot about what was coming. But I could see you doing that. The question is, like, how do you handle Halo 5 and Halo Infinite at that point? It would, be a good idea for you to put Infinite on there ahead of time, but then you're doing it out of release order and it just gets really weird. But I think you could put the multiplayer portion on there since it's free to play. I think you could put that on there as a separate application.
Yeah.
But that's just me. That's just my personal thoughts on it. Said that he also has seen Grunt API, who is somebody who reports on the API stuff, a little bit less official as far as I'm concerned. Said that Project Ecker, which is a EKUR is how it's spelled, as a Halo project that's in development, is a rumored standalone multiplayer project that was possibly a BR, but is heavily rumored to be an extraction shooter now. Big surprise.
Great, because we need more of those.
Its internal ID has been receiving updates every 6 hours or so for the past week or two. So that makes me think that could be on the way. I could see them doing that as like a 1-2 punch. Maybe that's something that Certain Affinity pivoted to after Tanaka.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that was supposed to be, ODST based anyways and not Spartan based.
Right.
So I do wonder if that is maybe a thing that would an extraction shooter, like, that would be something you could put on PlayStation also very easily. I'd be like, oh, well, look, it's not a mainline game. We're giving them a multiplayer only spinoff. And the dramatic irony of it going up against Marathon is just too juicy to not think about. Like, all right, guys, we're getting the gang back together.
Oh boy, the gang is back.
The gang is back, but Marathon's gonna be shit if it ever comes out.
Be something.
Other fun little tidbit. We have some other tidbits here. Andy Robinson said on the VGC podcast, we have a couple of tidbits from VGC, said the talk for ages was, then this is all exactly what he said. There's always outside interest in Banjo, but they're not interested. I mean, Greg Mayles is someone who doesn't look back. Notoriously, has said this on the record. He wants to do new stuff. The attitude from the studio leadership, no, we're going to do a new thing. I heard more recently, pitches are being listened to. I heard consistently and constantly the names that come up are Toys for Bob, who really wants to do one. Funny enough, I heard Moon Studios as well as another one who's really interested. There's always talk about interest of doing a cartoon or of a movie constantly. I think you are more likely to see this as a movie or as like a 6-episode TV series they can throw to like Paramount Plus or Amazon or something.
Yeah.
Before you get a game. Now, I'm not saying a game is impossible.
Right.
We need to know what the terms of Toys for Bob's contract is, though, and what they're working on. The rumor, of course, has been Spyro for so long. It's like it's all but guaranteed to be Spyro at this point, from what we know.
Right.
But you and I have said since the minute that purchase got announced, like, damn, what if they got Banjo?
Yeah.
I feel... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I also wonder if, like, Microsoft will try to test the waters by putting Banjo-Kazooie on Switch 2 and PlayStation as well, right? Because like they already have it backwards compatible and rare replay and whatever, right? But I wonder if they'll try to put that HD version of like 1 and 2 on the other platforms.
So Phil has been really particular about how he's allowed certain things to go to certain platforms. Like the Ori games notoriously went to Switch and never appeared on PlayStation.
I think they're on PlayStation now.
I don't think they are. I'm gonna look it up right now. I do not believe that that Ori ever made it over to PlayStation, from my knowledge. Nope. Nintendo Switch, Windows, Xbox One, and funny enough, the Blind Forest also was on 360 apparently.
Interesting. I did not. I thought
no, it was not. No, it was not. I'm looking at Wikipedia on that.
Nope, it is not on PlayStation.
Google lied to me. Nope.
Dang. Okay.
It is not. So I personally do not think that Banjo would come to PlayStation because Rare historically outside of Sea of Thieves has never put a game on PlayStation.
Right. But I also
Nintendo is they said they want to put things where they're going to sell.
Right, but I also wonder if you put a character platformer on PlayStation with the success of Astrobot, or at least the seemingly popularity of Astrobot, if they think they might be able to capitalize on that too. But also,
Astrobot sold fine. Astrobot sold perfectly fine for a non-Mario platformer.
What was it, like 2.8 million or something?
I think we're up to 4. But I don't think that Xbox is going to do that just yet. Now, if the order comes from above, then they'll have to do it. But considering Rare Replay hasn't even come to Nintendo, and almost all those games were Nintendo games to begin with the exception of like 5 of them, I have to think that they would test the waters by putting the HD remakes of the Banjo games and putting like nuts and bolts. Put like the Banjo trilogy on there for $20 and see how it does. Just for shits and giggles. I think that also opens the door to bring some of the, like, there was a Banjo Game Boy Advance game. Maybe that opens the door for that to come to expansion paths. Perfect Dark for Game Boy Color, Conquer Pocket Tales. There are things that Microsoft technically has the rights to that they could just sign off on putting on there.
Yeah. I mean, the rumor right now is that Rare is going to put, obviously Nintendo owns it, but Donkey Kong 64 and Diddy Kong Racing, but like
I have heard the Donkey Kong 64 rumor. As of March 2025, the game Astrobot has sold 2.3 million copies. I think that we're around this stuff so much that we think sometimes things are more popular than they actually are.
Yeah,
and that's what was going to lead me to my next question. Like, does the general public even want Banjo anymore? Let's be completely honest with each other. Like, thinking outside of our circles. And
yeah, no, like, I don't think the Xbox audience wants Banjo. I think here's the thing. every time I hear people say they want a game like this or something, I think of Mirror's Edge Catalyst, right? Everybody wanted a sequel to Mirror's Edge apparently, and then it sold like nothing, right? And so I have a hard time believing like the mass audience wants Banjo-Kazooie.
Yes, there. Of course, there's a very vocal online contingent of fans, myself included, who would love a new, authentic third Banjo-Kazooie game.
Yeah, I think
kids today do not know who Banjo-Kazooie are unless they've played Smash Ultimate.
Right. And I think they look at stuff like not just Astrobot, but like some of these other platformers that are coming out or are out, and then like I don't know if you saw, but Playtonic laid off some of their staff because of the lack of interest in the new ukulele game.
Yep. Saw that one.
And so I want you have to take all that into consideration and just consider how much more popular Crash and Spyro are than Banjo. Just because of how the sheer amount of units the PlayStation sold originally, right? And those games were their Mario essentially.
Yeah, it's worth noting that the last Crash game, which the reason you're not getting another Crash is supposedly this did not reach financial targets, and a planned sequel was canceled, has sold 5 million copies as of last spring. 5 million is not bad for a non-Mario platformer at all.
I mean, I think that's great for Crash. I think that's awesome.
I think that's fantastic for the best Crash game we've gotten since 3. Yes.
It didn't meet financial goals at 5 million, but Astrobot sold 2.3 million and is like celebrated. You know what I mean? Like,
well, don't get me wrong. Like Crash got very good reviews, but
no, I know.
You have to remember, though that phrasing came from Activision Blizzard. I don't think Microsoft said that, but yeah, Toys for Bob was given a lot of freedom in how they made it. People liked it. They really liked that game. It had an 85 on Metacritic, so
yeah,
I think that's perfectly fine for a platformer, for a non-Mario platformer. That's kind of as good as you can hope for.
Yeah,
but pretty easily the best Crash game since Warped. I don't feel like that's a controversial opinion. Depending on how you feel about Wrath of Cortex or Twin Sanity. Which Twin Sanity I feel like is a better idea of a game. Wrath of Cortex is fine, but it was very like 2000 even when it came out.
Right.
Like it felt dated even then. So whenever people say they want a classic franchise back, I always just kind of go, yeah, sure, okay. Like people are clamoring for this Spyro game that they're making. I'm just like, man, y'all better show up and play this game. I feel like that game's going to do like 2 million tops.
Also, like, is a new Banjo game or this next new Spyro game going to cost like $70? Because I don't think you should expect it to sell well if you're going to sell a platformer at $70.
Bro, we're selling Outer Worlds 2 for $80. I have no idea what the price value is anymore of anything. And I'm somebody who's very excited for Outer Worlds 2. Okay, so I'm fucking stupid. People want Spyro. The Spyro trilogy, as of 2 years ago, had sold over 10 million copies worldwide. I'm fucking dumb. People want this. People want this game. But I mean, the Insane trilogy also sold wild. It sold 20 million worldwide. And only a quarter of those players, or a fifth of those players, bought Crash 4. I don't know. So I mean, if you're going by that same standard, yeah, about 2-3 million copies is what you could expect Spyro to sell, I guess. Okay. And I think that would be about the ballpark for what you would expect Banjo-Kazooie to sell for. I'm sorry. Like I think there would be more people buying it because they're just super nostalgic for the N64 days. And that's why, like, I think putting it on Nintendo day and date would be really helpful if you were to go that route.
Oh yeah.
You can't keep a platformer just on Xbox. It's simply, it's not going to go well. The last time they tried to do a platformer, God, that thing was so terrible.
What, the Max Brotherhood of whatever?
No, the Max games were actually like kind of okay. This is a different. I'm trying to think of what it was called.
I don't.
I'm gonna just we're gonna keep talking, but I'm gonna find this because it's gonna bother me.
Platform that Microsoft did?
Yeah, it was at the end of the Xbox One generation, and it was just complete dog shit.
Oh man.
Super Lucky's Tale. That's what I'm
Oh
thinking of.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, talk about a terrible game. I thought this was so bad. This is very I okay, so like it's bad to me because it's clearly meant for children, but holy shit. The controls were so bad. The controllers and the camera, I'm getting PTSD flashbacks now.
Yeah. No, my kids tried to play it, and then we just ended up playing Mario Party instead.
You know, the game I'm shocked that we didn't get anything on in the last week out of like maybe being canceled was Contraband. If I'm going to say this, if Contraband is still in the works after they canceled the Romero Games title and Blackbird, I don't know who the fuck is making these decisions at that point. Because like how
Right. I don't know, man. Your guess is as good as mine at this point.
I don't know. We've got a couple of other things to hit here before we get to another big story. Another guy from VGC, Jordan Midler, said on the Friends Per Second podcast that there are multiple Fallout projects in development, including, as far as I'm aware, the one you're all wanting. So to me, that means that is something New Vegas adjacent.
Yeah, I would say New Vegas, right? Oh, I mean, it's either 3 or New Vegas, right? Like that would be the 2 remasters
So
that
we know
people want.
we
right?
know the 3 remaster is coming. No, I'm talking. I think it's a full on sequel to New Vegas.
Oh,
Because you combine this with the picture that Josh Sawyer posted last year of all the notebooks from when he was writing New Vegas.
mm-hmm.
They posted right around the time the show was coming out. Season 2 of the show was about to come out. Like, I cannot believe you did not have a Fallout game ready to go. Like, I have to think they saw the reception to that show and immediately greenlit like 3 Fallout games. My suspicions are when they say multiple projects, I think you're getting the 3 remaster. That is all but confirmed at this point. And I think it's going to be Virtuos who does it after how good Oblivion was.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get something New Vegas related. I don't think it's a remaster necessarily. I think it's going to be Obsidian's next big game though. I think that the Avowed team and maybe the Outer Worlds teams come together, merge together with Josh Sawyer's to produce a New Vegas. Maybe they do the remaster and the sequel at the same time, you know? It certainly wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility. I don't think that they could handle that, but maybe they have 2 main teams, so who fucking knows? And then I think the Fallout 5 will happen, but not until we're like in our 40s. So I'm not going to worry about Fallout 5 right now. Elder Scrolls 6 still has to prove that it's in existence before that happens. My thinking is that it's going to be another mobile title. It's going to be like Fallout Shelter 2. I'd be really surprised if it's not Fallout Shelter 2, actually. I know that was the joke going around, but like, for real, that game was immensely profitable.
Right, but I feel like
cheap. It's cheap to make. It's cheap to produce. You'll make a shit ton of money off it, and that's all they care about at the end of the day: the profitability. Let Bethesda Montreal do something.
I feel like why wouldn't you just update the old one if it's free to play?
Fallout Shelter,
Yeah.
money. Now you can charge for a base game and then in-game purchases. Even if the game's only like $3, that's $3 from what, like 30 million people who are going to download it. And then a lot of those people, like even if it's only 5 to 10%, are going to buy credits in the game to play it. Great. There you go. You have your one of your flagship games for your mobile store you want to make so badly. King is just going to make a match 3 Fallout game. That's secretly one of these. Watch. I live to be disappointed. It's going to happen. It's gonna happen. I do think that, like, I mean, maybe a better version of 76 comes down the line. Who knows? Like, I still cannot figure out what Bethesda in both Dallas and Austin are doing. Austin, last I heard, was overseeing 76, and they had helped with Redfall and shit. I don't know what they're doing now. I don't know if they're still doing 76 content. From my understanding, that was largely outsourced. Last I heard, Dallas, I think, was working on Starfield expansion content. Maybe Austin is helping with that so the main studio can go full steam ahead. I gotta think Starfield only has like one or two more expansions, though, if that. I gotta think that they're ready to just wrap this one up, get it on PS5 as a Game of the Year edition, make some fucking money finally.
Yeah.
And just call it a day on Starfield 1. And at that point, I mean, my pitch for years has been let Bethesda Austin be the stewards of Fallout. Let them and Obsidian together just kind of take Fallout over. Todd's not doing anything with it. He can't right now. And at least at Obsidian / InXile and like maybe Bethesda Austin, like you've got all three studios who have worked on those games before, who've worked in that universe. I would love to see a tactical Fallout game. That's something Obsidian could do. But I feel like when you say the one you're all waiting for is either, for me, it's one of only two things. It's either New Vegas 2 or it's Fallout 5. And if it's Fallout 5, somebody outside the studio, somebody outside Bethesda has to be making it. There's no other stuff. It would be cool if Obsidian did Fallout 5. But I don't know if Todd's willing to let that go.
I mean, it's not his to make that decision anymore, though.
It's not, and they did say like a year or two ago, or Todd actually said in an interview last year, I guess, that he's frustrated with how long it's taken them to make games lately at Bethesda, and that Elder Scrolls 6 will be his final Elder Scrolls. So my belief is that he's looking for a worthy successor for those. I can't think of a better successor to inherit the Fallout legacy. And I'm sure that Fergus over at Obsidian feels the same way, than to let Josh Sawyer take the mantle if he wants to.
Right. I mean, they've done such a good job with the Outer Worlds, right? Which not really Fallout, right? But it's like that's that style.
No, but Brandon Adler got his start at Obsidian doing level design for narrative design and level design for New Vegas, and is a Sawyer disciple. Much like Kerry Patel was for Avowed. So that makes me think that Obsidian is going to do and we heard this 2 years ago. Jeff Grubb was reporting on this almost 2 years ago, that there had been conversations with both Obsidian and InXile about the future of the Fallout franchise before the show even premiered. So I do wonder the extent of the validity of that. Again, Grubb's somebody that I tend to trust. Like he says something, I kind of like turn my head and pay attention a little bit more than I normally would to people spouting things off on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm hoping that we get some of this going, because man, Fallout, we need Fallout. The industry is better when Fallout games are coming.
Yeah. People want Fallout.
People do want Fallout. Got a little bit of an update on Blade, Corey.
Yeah.
Arcane's financials got published the other day, and according to this, Blade entered full production in late 2024. And it was in pre-pro for probably about 2 years before that, from my estimates. From what I was seeing in here. Oh, actually, hang on. I think it says when they went in. I'm going to pull this up on Blue Sky real fast. Oh, shit. It's all in French. Fuck. Yeah, I'm not reading through all that in French, but...
You don't want to read French, Josh?
No, I do not.
I thought you were fluent. I thought you were very French.
No. Arcane Lyon has 190 employees also currently working on this game. So, little curious to see how Blade shakes out. I don't think that's like a super expensive IP. So again, like I think that's safe. Like that's probably easier to turn a profit on than Hideo Kojima's VR Wonderfest that he's doing. If it is still a VR game, we had heard that it was originally a Stadia game, and like it's being developed with the cloud and everything else. So now that Death Stranding 2 is out, we'll see how long it takes for us to see anything from OD. That would be on my list of things I expect to see next year. But apparently, Blade is projected to release in 2027, which about in line with what we've thought, honestly. That sets you up for potentially a hell of a first year for a new console. Even if you don't launch in 26, if you launch like anytime in 27, you presumably have Blade and OD as two of your major titles. Next year, we already know you're getting Gears, Fable, Forza, and Halo. State of Decay 3 is still alive right now. State of Decay 3, Clockwork Revolution. And then you go into that next year with Blade and OD on the table for right now. It's not a bad lineup.
No.
It's just really hard for me to be excited because those games might not exist next week.
Yeah.
You know, it's blunt.
No, they'll exist until the next fiscal quarter, Josh.
Oh, okay. So we're safe until what? End of August?
September
End of August,
1st.
beginning of September?
Yep.
No. We're safe until the end of September, beginning of October. Yeah. It's horrible to say, but that's where that is right now. I'm very curious.
Yeah. Oh, so many good things in development. I hope that they are around long enough for us to play them.
I hope so too. Man, it really makes me wonder if Dishonored 3 was what this was going to be originally, and then they pivoted into Blade. Because Dishonored 3 is one of the only missing games that we don't know the whereabouts of from those financials. So I do wonder if we ever see a Dishonored 3 at this point.
Yeah, I wonder.
My hunch points to no, but not impossible.
Yeah.
I do think there are studios that could handle it. It's just a question of if they will be allowed to. So, all right, let's pivot into this one. Chris Dirrig did a report this week about if Game Pass is profitable or not. This is a write-up that is coming from The Gamer. Chris Dirrig reported to somebody who wrote to him saying, so Game Pass itself is profitable at Xbox, including studios isn't. And Chris Dirrig replied, I asked for clarification on the Game Pass is profitable claim and was told no first-party costs are included. So costs associated with Game Pass business is fees paid to third parties, marketing, service costs, and by that measure, it's profitable. What they don't count is the lost revenue that Xbox's first-party studios are seeing as a result of the service. I have to imagine if first-party studios receive similar compensation, the profitability might not be correct. So that caused a whole tizzy, obviously. That was a whole thing because that was not the only Game Pass story we got this week. We have Dirrig later did report that about a clarification, but I want to get to this other person who spoke out about it. Unsustainable model is what was being said. The Arcane founder and the Larian publishing head both were saying things like that. So Rafael Cataliano said, I think Game Pass is an unsustainable model that has been increasingly damaging the industry for a decade. Subsidized by Microsoft's infinite money, but at some point reality has to hit. I don't think Game Pass can coexist with other models. They'll either kill everyone else or give up. In the replies, he was dismissive of and this is from The Gamer. In the replies, he was dismissive of the idea that AI is solely to blame and expands on his concerns. He says Xbox's actions are throwing a tsunami at the entire ecosystem of the industry. Head of publishing at Baldur's Gate 3 developer Larian agreed with this sentiment. Michael Dowse. What happens when all that money runs out is the most vocal concern in my network and one of the main economic reasons people I know haven't shifted to this business model. Both also pushed back against Xbox's insistence that putting a game on Game Pass won't cannibalize its sales. Douse does say there is some value in smaller games going on the platform, but otherwise, neither seem keen on the idea of putting their releases on Game Pass. They argue the service ought to host Xbox's back catalog, similar to what we see with PlayStation Plus. So, not
Keep going, Josh.
not
I'll
a
be right back.
yeah, not a fan of that. I don't really know what to make of it ultimately, but if you're saying that, that makes me wonder, is there like some sour grapes on Raphael's part over what happened with Arcane? It's hard to imagine, not hard to imagine that there isn't some. He is, of course, the studio director at Wolf Eye Studios now, which is making. I believe they made Weird West. Did they make Weird West? Yes, they did. They made that. It's just so strange to me because I think Weird West came day one to Game Pass, if I remember correctly. So it's like, okay, so you're against the model, but you put your game on there right away? Like, that feels strange to me. I don't understand how that happened, but that's where we are. And then Larian, it doesn't surprise me that like Larian also just has some like really weird feelings about this, because they were offered, if you remember back in the leaked documents about Game Pass in 2023 as part of the FTC trial, that they were only offered $5 million to put Baldur's Gate 3 on there, as opposed to like 200 million for Mortal Kombat and 300 for Jedi Survivor. So yeah, it's obviously understandable that there's some hurt feelings over there, but also I think they both raise a valid point. I do think that we've all wondered about the profitability of this. I think we've all wondered about, does it cannibalize the sales? And my thing is, I don't think it actually does. I think it cannibalizes the sales on Xbox, but I don't think it does for platforms as a whole. Like, we just got the Circana numbers, and Doom the Dark Ages and Forza Motorsport, or Forza Horizon 5, both finished in the top 5. So I don't think Game Pass is, doing it that much.
Yeah,
I don't.
I think Xbox. I think Game Pass is it definitely has kind of almost trained the Xbox player to not purchase games, because it'll say, oh, I'll just wait till it comes to Game Pass, or like, oh, $70 is too much, I'm not going to buy it right away. Or, I mean, if a game looks interesting, they might buy it on another platform,
Yeah, so I wanna read the overall chart for May. Those are the numbers that we were talking about. Those came out today. Number one, obviously, Elden Ring Night Rain, not a big surprise. The next 4 games, though: Doom the Dark Ages, Forza Horizon 5, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and then Minecraft comes in at number 7. I don't want to hear about it cannibalizing sales when that is still happening. And those are all first. Obviously, Minecraft is going to be on there. Obviously, COD's going to be on there. Those other 3, though, like, don't. Okay, so yeah, you lost some sales. You were still the 2, 3, and 4 best-selling games. And by the way, one of those is a remaster/remake. One of those is a game that's been out for 4 years and just came to a new platform. Respectfully, fucking miss me with the bullshit. I think we have seen enough evidence now. Expedition 33 is another great example of this. It did not cannibalize the sales. Now, did it impact something like Avowed? Probably. Did it impact South of Midnight? Probably. But those are also games that you could argue February was so stacked, Avowed maybe gets overlooked at that point. It was not the most polished game, and I can't wait to talk about that here in a few minutes.
But yeah, and I also think to that point with Expedition 33, I would argue that it being on Game Pass actually elevated it and advertised it on other platforms, and to allow it to
they said it themselves. Yeah. They themselves came out and said, no, we think it's great. It's a fantastic deal for us. Like, people got upset on their behalf over Oblivion coming out, and they're like, no, that's great. It's drawing visibility to the fact that our game is coming out in the same week, that people are writing stories about this. This is great. Like, we're both getting visibility now.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, miss me with the bullshit disrespectfully. Disrespectfully miss me with that. I can understand having concerns. These guys work in the industry, we don't. I said this while you stepped away. Wolf Eye Studios, where Raphael is the president of now, they make Weird West. Weird West was on Game Pass day one, if I remember correctly. It was a couple years ago, but I believe that game was on Game Pass day one. Obviously, we know about the history of Baldur's Gate and, you know, it not coming to Xbox, and they only offered $5 million for it to go to Game Pass. Obviously, Microsoft make a much better deal now, blah, 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 blah. The point is, like, I think there are concerns about this model, but I think they're being blown drastically out of proportion. So I want to read Chris's follow-up here, because I do think his clarification is worth reading. I need to correct and clarify something. Xbox Game Pass is profitable, even when you factor in the lost sales for its first-party teams. Sources who would have the knowledge have told me. Over 18 months ago, I checked with Xbox about what's included in Game Pass P&L. Basically, I was looking to see if Game Pass's costs factor in the impact to unit sales of their internal studios. I was told that first-party games have their own P&L separate to Game Pass, that they make money via other means. I felt this piece of internal accountancy might mean Game Pass is profitable, but it sure does put pressure on the margins for internal games and possibly means some studios don't make as much profit or any profit at all. Okay, that part is completely fair, because I feel that way about Avowed and South of Midnight in particular. I think both of those games really struggle to make a profit for their respective studios. And I think, like, obviously, like Obsidian, you're like, okay, well, that's going to be subsidized. That's been subsidized by, you know, Outer Worlds in the past. It's going to be subsidized, Grounded, etc. Like, then they can go off and let Josh Sawyer have his quirky little game, right? Like, I don't think Outer Worlds 2 is going to sell phenomenally simply because of the $80 price tag, but the first one sold like 5-6 million copies, even being a day one Game Pass game. So I kind of expect the sequel to do that. They're going to make paid DLC for it, blah, 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 blah. This doesn't really matter in real terms, but seeing the impact Game Pass was having on first-party games and the amount of money Xbox was spending on studios, I wanted to check if the full impact of the service was being considered in their Game Pass is profitable line. This was before Xbox started publishing fully on PS5. Studios can make stronger margins on premium sales as a result of that move. Agreed. Forza being on PlayStation and Oblivion Remastered being on there is feeding families, quite literally, right now. Quite literally. Yep. Regardless of all that, sources have reached out to tell me that even when you include lost revenue associated with first-party games, not just unit sales, but microtransactions, Game Pass is still profitable. So that's great. Tony Hawk is out. Let's get back to that. Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like it was profitable, and I think that they also clawed back the spending on major third-party releases. We noted this last year. Last year was a really slow year for Game Pass, I felt. They really focused on getting more of that backlog out, getting some more indies on there, but they weren't throwing these mega deals out there. We weren't seeing things like the MLBs and Outriders and things like that they were doing for a while there, because they had no fucking games when they were doing that.
Right.
They pulled off last year in anticipation of having more games to come out. Need I remind you, Indiana Jones has been on the charts also because of its release on PlayStation. It even charted on Xbox when it was only on Xbox and Steam. So, again, disrespectfully, miss me with the bullshit. Absolutely fucking miss me with all this. I don't get it, man. I just don't get it.
Right.
And I mean, year-to-date sales, Oblivion is the second best-selling game of the year-to-date. Black Ops 6 is at number 4. No surprise there. Forza Horizon 5 is at number 12 from what I can see out of this screenshot. So, you know what? I'm done. I don't understand why this was even a debate that we had to have, but we had to have it apparently this week for whatever godforsaken reason.
Right.
Also, they reported that game subscription spending is at an all-time high in the United States. So make of that what you will. God, absolutely. asinine takes over here. You're well within your right to express skepticism, and I think we should be skeptical of claims like that. But to unilaterally be like, it's killing the industry, like, okay, first of all, no. Second of all, like, okay, let's tone down the rhetoric a tiny bit. We just went through one of the worst layoff days in the history of this industry, certainly the worst in the history of Xbox. Let's tone it down a tiny bit. Let's tone it back a tiny bit. People have had their entire lives destroyed. Maybe now is not the time to be debating a subscription service.
Right.
Especially one that you put your game on not that long ago.
Right.
So, and this is obviously going to be a very different situation for you versus the other one. We've heard from multiple indie devs and third-party devs over the years saying, like, no, this is a great service to put stuff on. Like, it boosted visibility. Our game was still profitable despite putting it on there. Yeah, we got a great contract, but like, we're able to put our games on there. Who is it? Is it No More Robots? Is that the publisher I'm thinking of? The small indie publisher that loves to put their games on there? I think that's who I'm thinking of.
Yes. Yeah, because they do like Descenders or whatever, right? And,
yep.
Downhill.
Micros is who I'm thinking of. Has been a very notable defender of them of Game Pass over the years. Continues putting their games on there and is like, yeah, we have great deals. And about once a year they put a game on there. So cool. Like those are the cozy games I like to sit there and play with my backbone on cloud. So we have one more piece of Xbox news, and then we got a piece of third-party news we got to get to before what we've been playing. Obviously, this is old news at this point. Just wanted to, kind of reiterate this, especially considering it is undoubtedly part of the reason that you are seeing some of these cuts and things that, have to be paid for. AMD and Microsoft have entered into a long-term partnership to develop Xbox hardware, which is a huge sigh of relief to everybody with a backlog and a back catalog, because that means they are focused going forward on compatibility across all platforms and PC, as they said. Sarah Bond's goal is for you to play your library on any device you want to in the world. PlayStation is also worth noting going to be going with AMD going forward. I love this. I love this. I think this is good. This obviously needs to happen.
They're using AMD on the current consoles, right?
I believe so, yes. I think they've always used AMD.
Yeah, because that's like a big reason. That's like a big thing for backwards compatibility is like if they use the same like family of chips, essentially, like they have to do less work in terms of the emulation. Like if they went with another chip company, like they would have to pour so much money into emulation for backwards compatibility that they don't want to spend, right? And so they would rather spend that money with, AMD.
And R&D costs a shitload of money. Okay, like we've talked about this in the past. Like backwards compatibility was a very expensive project for Jason Ronald's team to undertake, especially getting those original Xbox games to work.
Right.
Like you are very lucky you got what you did at this point. So,
but hey, I got Munch's Odyssey and Psychonauts. I'm good to go.
I fucking love Munch's Odyssey. Almost got me to buy an Xbox at launch back when I was a kid. I genuinely love that. Oh, dude, I loved Munch's Odyssey. That was back when every platform wanted a mascot. Little did they know they had a guy called Master Chief.
Yeah.
Sarah Bond put out a video. What?
Isn't that so funny to think about?
So dumb. So dumb. Everyone tried this. Xbox still tried it for like 2 more generations. Sarah Bond put out a video, though, and in it she says, at Xbox, our vision is for you to play the games you want with the people you want anywhere you want. That's why we're investing in our next-generation hardware lineup across console, handheld, PC, cloud, and accessories. I'm thrilled to share we've established a strategic multi-year partnership with AMD to co-engineer silicon across a portfolio of devices, including our next-generation Xbox consoles, in your living room and in your hands. Now, this could just mean the Xbox Ally and related devices. I'm still believing that they're going to make a first-party handheld. It's just a couple more years away. I think they have the plans and they have the specs and they're ready to pull the trigger, but they want to see how this one goes over first, and they want Sony to blink first and announce theirs. I think they want to be able to beat Sony in terms of specs and price. I think they know they have to be able to do that. Also, they're kind of waiting to see what Valve does. I don't think it's a bad thing to like hold that and like maybe announce it as like a one more thing during your hardware presentation. Like, hey, this is coming in the future, but we're not ready just yet. So I like that. This is from Jez Corden's right up over at Windows. I think it's Jez who wrote it at Windows Central. Yeah. Microsoft's partnership with Asus is Windows 11, meaning it cannot run the vast majority of Xbox console games that don't support Play Anywhere. It led to concerns the next Xbox would potentially not run your existing console games. I'd heard Microsoft was planning to maintain Xbox backwards compatibility for your existing games in the next gen, and now we have that confirmation. Because she says, together with AMD, we're advancing the state of art in gaming silicone to develop the next generation of graphics innovation to unlock a deeper level of quality and immersive gameplay and player experiences enhanced with the power of AI, all while maintaining compatibility with your existing library of Xbox games. That really is still like the thing that Microsoft has really planted their flag in the ground about, is keeping your library alive.
I mean, I think amidst all the confusion, right? I think that's like the one safe thing you can grab onto is like at least the games that you've purchased already are going to move forward, right? Like across the board, right? I mean, I don't think like Xbox One forward. Obviously, that's when they kind of started Play Anywhere and that kind of thing, right? And obviously, Game Pass they share a lot of the same library, but third party games and 360 and original Xbox games in particular were all questionable. And so it's really nice to see that they're like, yes, you can bring your games forward. We're working on that. And yeah, it's great to hear. Love it.
It's very good to hear. I'm absolutely excited.
Yep.
And then there is one final quote here that I want to read from Sarah Bond. This is about building a gaming platform that is always with you so you can play your games across devices and anywhere you want. Delivering an Xbox experience designed for players, not locked to a single store or tied to one device. That's why we're working closely with the Windows team to ensure that Windows is the #1 platform for gaming. The next generation of Xbox is coming to life. This is just the beginning, and we cannot wait to show you what's next. I am dubious about this claim. I think that's a very bold claim to make. And she's not even claiming anything, but I think that's a very lofty goal to try and hit. But again, if anyone's in the position to do it, it's Xbox. Because they run Windows. That's the only reason any of this can work. They have an advantage that somebody like Nintendo or Sony does not, and that is that if they get a partnership with Steam and or Epic, and say you buy a game in one place and you can play it or on whatever you want, that would genuinely be industry changing. That would be revolutionary in a way that I don't think we've seen maybe since the advent of the Steam store. That would shake up the landscape in such an insane way.
Yes.
And I don't think it will ever happen because there's too much money at stake to lose for both Xbox and Steam.
That's
always going to be the thing.
How does Xbox benefit financially from that, right?
To me, that means that I think you will be allowed to run your Steam library on Xbox, but you probably won't be able to purchase Steam games on Xbox. You will probably be given an option in the store. Do you want to buy this on the Xbox store? Or here, you can click this link and it'll take you to the Steam store to do it. If these are going to be living room PCs, for example. On a handheld, you have no problem. It'll just flip you over to that store automatically, right? Kind of like on your phone when you click something and it auto opens the app. Kind of like that. That would be my takeaway from that. And maybe they're like, we get like a 20% cut if you buy a Steam game on Xbox. Okay. Similar to how like whenever you do a subscription through like iOS gets, I think, 30%. Yes. So I wonder if it would be something similar to that. Would be my guess. I mean, that's kind of like standard. Like, if you buy a game on
30 standard, I think.
Yeah, if you buy a game on Xbox that is produced by somebody else, Xbox pockets 30%, they get the other 70%. So it would make sense to me that you would go along that route. The question is then it gets a little bit complicated with like publishers and things like that. Like how does that revenue split work? Steam summer sales, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think a library integration is coming of like, hey, here's everything that you can play on this particular device that is authorized to run on this device from across your stores, which is what the Ally X is trying to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's probably our first look at how this is going to look. So, again, I'm like trying not to get too excited about the future because there's so much shit going on in this industry and with Xbox in particular. But things like this have me very interested and very curious in the future.
Yeah.
And I think we should. I think that in a terrible couple of weeks, this is one of the lone real bright spots. Like, we really thought they were firing on all cylinders. This came out the week after Summer Showcase. We were feeling good. We were expecting to come in and talk about this last week, and then we got layoffs. Yeah. And we got studio closures, and we got project cancellations. So, speaking of project cancellations, Corey, we have one more story to get to.
Oh, boy.
Krafton has been embroiled in some controversy this week. They laid off the two heads of the studio making Subnautica 2 Unknown Worlds. They laid off the two heads. They fired the two heads, and they brought in the head of Striking Distance Studios, CEO. They brought that in. It does seem like Striking Distance will probably be shut down pretty soon because they got a game canceled this week as well. Codename Titan. Never name a multiplayer game Titan. We've seen this happen at like 3 different places now.
Yep.
So, also just like kind of wild that Glenn Schofield destroyed his reputation with that one game, but we carry on. Krafton did this to avoid paying $250 million bonus out to the developers that they owed them after the acquisition a couple years ago by delaying Subnautica 2, the number 2 most wishlisted game on Steam, to 2026. They had to get it out at least in early access by this fall for that bonus to hit. Krafton supposedly has confirmed to Jason Schreier that they will be paying out the bonuses regardless. And I don't really believe this. I don't love Krafton as a publisher between the stuff that went on with Callisto Protocol and PUBG, and I'm just not a big fan. Tango, good luck. I don't really love this. But, man, the first Subnautica was a huge hit. Huge indie hit. They got a bigger budget. They got more time. And, I mean, hey, if a studio tells you that they, need time, you give them time. It was the opposite. Unknown Worlds is like, no, we're ready to go into early access this year like we planned. We're ready. And I think part of that's because they have a big-ass Game Pass deal funding them also. This is a day one Game Pass game. So I'm interested to see what happens here because this is fucking wild. Absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Their response today was not great. It was absolutely not great. They tried blaming the two guys that they let go, and yeah.
Shocking
that Big Corpo doesn't love it. So
right.
Yeah, gonna be keeping a close eye on that one. Subnautica, not a game for me, but I know a lot of people who really, really love the first one. They're really stoked for number 2, and this is a gray cloud hanging over. Again, a really hotly anticipated game, especially on the PC front. So
yeah,
I know a lot of people were like, I don't know how to show my support here. How do we continue supporting the studio? Because we like the studio, but we don't like the publisher. And a lot of people have responded by just taking it off their wish lists. So I think that's always a question that I wonder about also. Like, I wonder about that with things like Xbox and like when Riot does layoffs and this and that. Like, how do I still support the developers even though like I don't like the publisher? And it's always a really tricky rope to walk, right? I think this is one of the more straightforward ones. Like, okay, just unwishlisted. And it's like it's the damned if you do, damned if you don't of capitalism. If you don't support them, they get closed down. If you do support them, the publisher makes money and thinks everything is okay, and they can keep treating people that way. Right. That's the same situation we're in with Xbox right now, right? We don't want to reward Satya Nadella and Amy Hood, but we love Obsidian. We love Compulsion. We love the Coalition. Halo. I don't know if we love Halo Studios. That's still kind of on the rocks. We love Playground and Ninja Theory.
We're hopeful for Halo Studios.
We're hopeful for Halo Studios. We love these. We love these studios, and we like these projects and everything else. Like, despite my misgivings about ESO. I had a hard time getting into ESO. Blackbird sounded really cool. It's going to go down in the hall. It's going to go down in the Hall of Cool Hall of Fame. You know, like cool things that never happened that Josh would have loved. You know, we've been building the library since like 2003 at this point. You know, back when I could have gotten a better StarCraft or Star Fox Adventures. You know, StarCraft Ghost also in there. So,
StarCraft Ghost coming soon. The N64.
oh my god, dude, coming soon the GameCube.
Dude, what if they put StarCraft Ghost on NSO?
Oh my god, dude. So there is supposedly, and this team, from everything I've understood, did not get affected by the layoffs. There is a team at Blizzard right now working on a StarCraft FPS. So we'll see if that ever comes out. This is the third attempt at it from what Jason Schreier's book was saying also. So play nice. Go read it. If you've not read it, amazing, amazing read. And the last couple chapters feel especially poignant right now with another round of firings at Xbox. Corey, before we get out of here, what have we been playing lately? What have you been playing specifically?
Well, I'm on my New Game Plus playthrough of Expedition 33. I just got to SKA's Nest, so that's kind of where I'm at there. But Josh, I've been playing, get this, the hit game from 1997, Final Fantasy VII.
So, Corey, you never played the original Final Fantasy VII.
No, I've never played 7.
So your first exposure is Remake, right?
I'm not playing. Well, I mean, I've consumed it through osmosis, essentially, right? Like I know.
Sure, but like in terms of actually like playing it,
I haven't played Remake either.
Oh God, Corey!
I wanted to play the original before I played Remake, so I got more out of it. That was my plan. So
how far are you into the game? Everybody knows Final Fantasy VII at this point. We're not spoiling anything. How far into the game are you?
I just got to the point where they, what's it called, Niflheim?
Oh God,
where they get to there to see that it burned down, but it did not, or it's some fake version of it. Is there, and so that's where I'm at. I know that this is where you also unlock Vincent, I think.
Vincent, optional character in the original Final Fantasy VII. You can actually complete the game without recruiting him.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
So I think I'm trying to put the 1997 glasses on, right? 96, 97 glasses.
97.
And you know, I'm a big fan of 9 and 10. 9 was my first Final Fantasy. And when I went back to 7 at that time, I was like, man, this feels weird. And I had played 9 and 10 back to back, and I was kind of like RPG'd out at the time. And so I just always thought I just didn't care for Final Fantasy 7. Right. But playing it now through a different lens, and after, you know, rekindling some sort of love for JRPGs through, you know, I played Fire Emblem Engage earlier this year, and then, you know, I played Expedition 33 and kind of fell in love with it. I was like, I should go back to Final Fantasy 7. Because obviously Remake is coming to Xbox later this year, and I plan on playing it. So I think there is a lot here, a lot positive that I know everybody here already knows, right? Like, I love the character dynamics. I love the different side stories they're telling, like Barrett's side story with his friend or his daughter. You know, I think, you know, Red 13's kind of conflict about his father and kind of learning that story was really interesting. And I think Cloud's kind of his conflicted nature feels relatable. You know, it feels and it's just a really good story, especially from 1997. I can see why this is like
The
the
gold
revolution.
standard.
Yeah, like the revolution. It's PlayStation's Mario 64 essentially, like in a lot of ways.
I love that you said that. Will you say that again for people?
Final Fantasy 7 is PlayStation's Mario 64.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love that. I've never heard it articulated like that, but it really is. I actually wouldn't say it's their Mario 64. I think it's their Ocarina of Time. I think it's that game that proved that something could be
Mm-hmm.
big and not just confined into individual spaces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that game
And
is fucking massive. It's 4 discs on PS1.
yeah. And so like it's funny because like as spread out as everything is, right? Like the towns and the different
Mm-hmm.
areas that you visit, like it feels lived in. Like you get to the different towns and stuff and it like really feels lived in, similar to Ocarina. Like when you get to Kakariko Village for
Mm-hmm.
the first time, like everybody has something to say. There's interesting conversations going on. Some people don't like you, some people do like you, some
Mm-hmm.
of the women really like you, and like it
It's a
just
horny
feels
ass game.
yeah, yeah, in more ways than one. So yeah, I'm really enjoying my time with it, and now that I'm like in a different headspace than when I played it originally, and like
Mm-hmm.
even last year I was like toying around with playing it. um I'm just really enamored with the story, and it I think now I think that because remake is out and like there's so many interesting changes going on, and the fact that I kind of already know the story of Final Fantasy 7, but like through podcast conversations and word of mouth and just gaming conversations in general, like actually experiencing it is like it's really hitting different.
Mm-hmm.
um so I'm really enjoying it. um yeah. But that's what I've been spending a lot of my time on, is Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, I mean, it was damn near my game of the year last year. I think I had it in third place ultimately, behind Metaphor and Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Rebirth is very much like remake. Very closely follows Disc One, which is the entirety of Midgar, and Rebirth is such a radically different game. It expands the overworld so much that's almost oppressive. Like I spent 80 hours in that game before I finally put it down. Like I did not 100%. I finally put it down. Like they expanded so much, and the stuff you were talking about, like the world feels lived in and the stories and the side characters and everything else. It is on such a more massively epic scale in Rebirth. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
Rebirth takes its own liberties. Like the story starts to deviate a little bit,
Yeah.
and it is that is the definitive. We took a game from your childhood and made it better. It is one of the very few like remakes or remasters that I'm like, this is better. Like this is its own game. This is its own
Mm-hmm.
game, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
There's no other word to describe it. So like, as an avid fan of the original Final Fantasy VII, and especially of Advent Children, I have really loved my journey through remake and rebirth. I bought a PS5 to play remake and Ghost of Tsushima, so everything else was extra. I always joked about that. So
Yeah.
I've loved this journey. I will be playing these games again on Xbox.
I'm actually really excited for when 7 comes out on Xbox.
Mhm. I will be playing these again in a way that I did not want to with 16. 16, I have noted. I love 16. I will never go back to 16.
Yeah, I do think that there's a clear nostalgia factor though with these characters, right? It even if like even on a gameplay perspective, like level, like if 7
Yeah.
and 16 were like equal and the stories were equal or whatever, like we've grown up with these characters whether you played the game or not. Like who Cloud is, who Tifa is, who Aerith and Barrett and Sephiroth are. Like I feel like that it would be really rare for somebody who plays video games regularly to not know who those characters are.
Yeah, I think 16 for me, I think has better the combat is more complex in 16 to me because it's very Devil May Cry,
Mm-hmm.
which I really like. It's just over the top anime bullshit at times, which I really enjoy. And I think Clive is the best protagonist since Cloud, in my personal opinion. I love Tidus, but I think I think that this is the best protagonist since. And I mean, Jill, just an amazing character.
You
Like,
mean you didn't like Vaughn from 12?
no. And before you ask, I was not a huge fan of 13. So I'm not the world's biggest Lightning fan. I do like playing Lightning in Magic, though, if that counts for anything.
Sure it does. I liked
I've been playing a lot of
13.
Magic.
I really liked 13.
13 was fine. I was too young when I played it, I think, to appreciate what they were trying to do with it at the time. Because at that point, I had just played through 7 for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I was like 12, and that was the gold standard now. Like, I had played 7 and 10, and if you were not 7 or 10, you were not good in my book. It took me becoming an adult to understand that 8 and 9 were really good also, and like, oh shit, all the pixel ones are really good too. Oh shit, maybe I need to go back to 12 and 13 that I did not like back in the day.
Yeah, I feel like there's been a lot of revisionist history on 8, though. I feel like a lot of people feel really negative about 8 now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I liked 8 when I played it. I also know that the junction system was really weird. But I was also coming off of 10's Sphere Grid, which was an awesome system to level up with. So what do I know? Also, the card games, man. The card games. All of the card games, Josh.
Yeah, there's a lot of mini games in obviously in Rebirth and Remake. Rebirth especially just goes like really, really hard on some of them. I think particularly the Gold Saucer is one of the best upgrades in Rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really love that. But I mean, like, I like the whole overworld. I like the exploring. It's just so good. And it's been so many years since I played the original 7, so I'm glad to hear you're enjoying it, though. A lot of times when people go back to those old games, they're like, man, this is good, but I really like the updated version better. And for the record, I do think that Remake and Rebirth are the definitive versions of this game now.
Oh, sure.
But there is something to be said about the classicness of it. It's just, especially if you don't know the twists that come, then 7 hits. And like, you only really went into it knowing that twist.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, that's the twist everybody talks about, right?
Everybody knows it. Like, everybody knows it.
Like,
you do not play video games even passively without knowing that particular twist.
Right. You know what's weird too is like, not weird, but like what I was kind of surprised at is like, it kind of questions you at the beginning if you're the bad guy, because you're like almost straight up you're almost part of a terrorist organization almost. Like, I mean, not to that extent, but like
they are eco-terrorists. Like, they are technically labeled as eco-terrorists. Of course, now we would just see them as like extreme activists, right? But I think in 1997, that obviously, when you take into that context, it was a little bit different, right? So, but I think in like 2025, that story hits a little bit differently. So, and I think that Remake and Rebirth do a really good job with that also, and showing the conflicting feelings that, like, you know, Barrett and Tifa have to being a part of Avalanche. So, enjoy that. But I have also been playing something, though, Corey. I've also been playing another long RPG. I have finally found time to make my way through Avowed.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, man. I like Obsidian a lot. This is probably my least favorite Obsidian game in about close to 10 years. And that does not mean it's bad. That means it's like a solid 8. I think that it is a good game, but the main quest is just at a certain point completely nonsensical. I'm sorry. Like, it is just not good. There are moments where I'm like, yeah, this is good, but I find myself, of course, way more invested in the side stories and the stories of the land going around. You can find like lore fragments everywhere, and they invite you to find these artifacts that will increase your power, and like make totems to the gods, and find these ultra powerful things. Like, oh, there's there's somebody killing soldiers in this unit, and you go to find who it is, and they set it up perfectly so that you think it's this particular guy, and then, oh nope, here's the rug pull from underneath you. It's really someone else who wants you to join their side, and you end up having to kill them at the riverbed, and that sets off a whole thing. Like, she gives you information that may or may not alter the main plot for you drastically, which I did not understand until it was too late. And I didn't want to go back like 5 hours in my save. So it's just, it's things like that. There are things that are very cool. It's a very Obsidian game at its core. Man, I wish it had a little bit more focus when it comes to the main quest. It's not bad, but coming from Pillars, not Knights, Pillars of Eternity, it is it's hard to reconcile. I would have to go back like to games I didn't even play that came out between Pillars and Pillars 2 to find a game that I would rate as low as this. Like, I mean, the last one I played that I would probably put around here would be Dungeon Siege 3, which is not a bad game either, but again, falls in that same category of like, this is like a 7.5 or an 8 for me. I shudder to think of what this game looked like before it was rebooted twice. It's a miracle that we got this game, I think. And I think there are some really cool elements. I don't really care for the companions are fine. They're fine. Like, as you do their side stories, I think you start to care for them more. Like, Kai is just an insanely horny bastard. Is it Kai? Kai kind of like, but he also has a really touching story, though, I think, relating to his past and one of the cities you go to. This game would be better for me if it was more open world. There's 4 different areas you go to that are all kind of just contained within their biome. And that bothers me because there's so much of the living lands you could be exploring that you just don't. Mm-hmm. And it does make me think this game was originally on a much larger scale before they narrowed it down. I don't know if a bigger scale would have served this game better or not, or if it would have just hindered it. Because if you don't have a good main quest, you don't have a good game, in my opinion. So like you have a lacking main quest. I'm in the final area now. I've probably got like another 8 hours in front of me of the game, probably around there 6 to 8 hours if I don't just beeline it to the end right now, which I'm not going to do because I've largely enjoyed the side content, in all honesty. It's an Obsidian game, so you have to think your way through some of the puzzles and some of the traps and stuff. I have really enjoyed that. The game design is just beautiful. It's beautifully designed. I think the combat it's pretty good. Only having 3 classes to choose from feels a little weird, though. And of course, you're not locked to that. You can kind of upgrade it however you want. You do traditional, D&D, constitution and perception and things like that to level up. And it's fine. There's things that they'll do in the main quest, and then you leave that area and like, boom, you're done with that segment of the main quest. And it's just really weird. Like, you never address those events ever again. So good game. Could have used a little bit more focus on the main quest, I think. I don't know if more time would have helped or hindered this game. I think it just kind of came to a point where it was like, hey, this just needs to come out.
Yeah.
It really feels like it could have been one of those casualties, and thank God it wasn't, because they had just shown it at a developer direct last year. If it hadn't shown up at that developer direct, I don't know if we would have gotten this game. I'm going to be just totally real with everybody. And that's not it's not because it's a bad game. It's just it had been in development for so long and cost them. Like, remember, this was part of the elevator pitch for them to buy Obsidian. Right. And it changed so much from that initial teaser that we got, that teaser vibe, which like really seemed like it was going to tie more into the plot around Pillars 1 and 2, specifically focusing on Jesus Christ. I'm trying to remember the fucking cult that you
focusing on Jesus Christ.
Yeah, focusing on Jesus Christ. Because I mean, you're a watcher in the first game, which is great. The Laden Key is what I'm thinking of. They make a reference to them very briefly as an aside, but it was nice to like see another story in Aora. I don't know if we're ever going to come back to Aora, honestly, which is really sad. I love Pillars 1 and 2 so much, and I secretly hope that Josh Sawyer secured funding to make Pillars 3, but he has famously gone on record saying he would only make Pillars 3 if they gave him a Baldur's Gate 3 level budget. Which he said very tongue-in-cheek, but I think he was also being like a little serious. He's been really open about Pillars 2 being so bad commercially, even though it reviewed excellently, and everybody I've ever talked to who played it has had nothing but praise for it. It was like that and Divinity Original Sin 2 were like the CRPGs of last decade to play. And this one just did so bad commercially. They had to do so many different they did like 3 different crowdfundings. Like Deadfire underperforming as badly as it did and like just not selling is part of what got them to go approach Private Division first off to publish Outer Worlds, but then for them to accept the Microsoft purchase was that. And, we've recounted that meeting before, but basically Phil asked Josh, like, hey, what are you working on? And he's like, I don't really know. Like, I'm just kind of like doing consulting for the studio. I haven't really wanted to direct a game. And he's like, well, if you had the money, what would you want to do? And Fergus made Josh Sawyer pitch what would later become Pentiment to Phil Spencer in that meeting. And Phil was like, fine, you can make it. I don't care. How many people do you need? And Josh was like, no, just kind of need like me and one other person for right now. And we know that game was made by like 10, 12 people. Grounded was pitched in that meeting, and like, look how that turned out for them. Grounded was this rousing success, but they never would have gotten either of those games made if it wasn't for, Microsoft and the Game Pass model. So, Outer Worlds 2 would have happened. Avowed might have happened. Maybe Private Division would have picked it up before they got shut down, obviously. But, somebody else probably would have published it eventually. Maybe Microsoft. They always wanted to work with them again. Maybe Bethesda steps in. I don't know. But Avowed, I think Avowed is a good step in the right direction to transitioning that franchise to something more accessible. But I think you have to make the game more accessible to do that, if that makes sense. Like, yes, it's not a CRPG now. We know CRPGs can succeed now, right? But you're primarily developing for a console audience with a game of this nature. And it just feels like I don't feel like we got enough promotion for this. I don't think we didn't know anything about the main fucking quest.
Right.
We went into this game knowing basically nothing about the main quest. Like, I've been shocked. I watched the developer direct. I watched the footage from the showcase the last couple showcases they showed it at. I had no fucking clue what was going on when I started this game. I was like, okay. I'm a little confused. Either I've clearly forgotten something or they just didn't show it to us. And like, there's a lot of choices maybe with that main quest. And I'm like, okay, now I kind of understand why they didn't show us a lot of stuff from like the main quest, and they always showed us stuff that was in the future or in other areas when they would do the gameplay demos. Like, okay, kind of get it now. Would have been nice to have seen some of this though, so we knew what we were in for. And hey, maybe it would have made it more appealing to people. I'm not going to go so far as to say like, oh, it's a hidden gem, but I do think that this game's going to be largely ignored because they didn't know how to demo it.
Yeah,
and that's a shame. Like, Xbox themselves did not know how to demo or market this game, which,
well,
cue the music, Aaron Greenberg time. But
I feel like somebody should just make a long cut of all of us saying,
Aaron God, Greenberg all the times that I blamed things on Aaron Greenberg. Yes.
Yeah. Dang. Oh, there's got to be something coming up that we can buy, right?
I'm ready. I'm ready to head out.
Yeah,
I think that's all I've got. Tony Hawk time, man. As Chris Dirrig said, Tony Hawk is releasing. If you bought the early access, you're already playing it. By the time you're listening to this, it is on Game Pass. So
yeah. Oh man, Josh, I meant to introduce you as the Cowabunga Doom Skater.
Yeah, but it's okay, man. Cooper Flag won his first Summer League game. It's all good. We're happy right now. We're happy. Right. So,
well, Josh,
all right, get me out. Get me out of here. It has been more fun than I feel like a night like tonight should have been.
Yeah, it's yeah.
For those of you who are expecting Tower Casuals tonight,
yeah, sorry,
but there really wasn't much in the Schwab, and we're going to be consumed by Destiny content for the next few weeks, anyways. Very excited. My collector's edition arrived today. It's beautiful.
Nice.
That statue is huge, and I have nowhere to put it. I genuinely do not have a place for it. I put it together, and yeah, it's going out in the living room, to put it lightly, because that's the only place I have a shelf for it. So yeah, I was gonna put it up behind me, and I don't have room. So that's where, and there's no room on top of my desk either. It's a whole catastrophe over here. So that's happening. The Edge of Fate launches on Tuesday. We're very excited. Gonna have a campaign review up as soon as humanly possible. I'm planning to blow through the campaign the first night on Legendary. Record a spoiler cast on that as soon as I can. Obviously, I want to talk about all the changes that are coming to the game, like actually how they feel in practice. How does the world feel? How do world tiers feel? The raid is happening. It launches on a Saturday, but as soon as World's First is verified, they're going to drop the normal version of the raid, which is really, really cool for the rest of us. So excited about that. And then we'll see how seasonal content looks also. So there's a lot of stuff coming y'all's way in the next few weeks, including I will be playing a lot of this content on a Warlock. So excited to talk about my experience going back and running the absolute nightmare that is the Beyond Light stasis missions. Jeez. I started playing that campaign again today, and I was like, "Oh my god! I just want to like shoot myself. This is terrible."
Oh my gosh! On that
note, please get me out of here because I'm just sad thinking about it.
Oh my gosh! I want to thank everybody out there for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.